Anthony Lucas was one of the only starters to play into the second half. What were you hoping to see from him, and was that by design?
Just getting some rust off of him. He missed all spring. He's been healthy all camp, but we just wanted to get him as many game reps as possible, and then we just don't have as much depth at that position either, so some of those guys played a little bit extra.
And what did you see from him off the line of scrimmage?
He's getting closer to where he was last year. Last year, he was one of the most improved guys, not just getting after the quarterback, but setting an edge and playing the run. And, he looks like he's getting back to his old self.
Bishop seemed to be all over the field in that first week. Bishop?
Yeah.
What stood out about his performance on film?
He's picked up the defense fast. To be doing something completely different your entire career and come and learn this in one off season's hard, and he's done an outstanding job, and he did a lot of the stuff that we've been seeing him do in practice.
How has Jakeem progressed these past few days?
He's doing good. He's doing awesome.
With Matai, he made some plays late in the game. How close is he to carving out a role maybe when the game's a little closer?
Matai does a lot of good things, and he just needs more reps in the scheme as far as just communication, just always knowing what he has. But we'll always have a handful of calls each game that we know that he can do, and when he's out there on the field, he plays fast. He makes mistakes, but he makes them full speed, which I love.
What does he do maybe naturally well?
He just has a natural knack for the ball. Whether it's tackling the ball carrier, whether it's attacking the ball in air, whether it's attacking the ball off a back, he just has a natural knack to get after the ball.
Talk about depth. Braylon Shelby looked like he was very comfortable in that first game. How is he giving you flexibility on the depth side?
He's getting better and better and better, and we feel like, on the edge we have 4 guys who we consider starters. Between Shelby, Anthony, and Cam right there, like all those guys can go in there and operate at the same level.
Who really popped out of that cornerbacks group, and how do you think they benefited from all that competition during fall camp?
I thought D-Nick played well. I thought all of them did good things, and it's still a very tight competition. I think the more reps we can get all those guys in actual games, the better.
Were you happy with the pressure you generated rushing 4? That was the big question you had last week.
We did better, but that's something that's going to be, every single week. It's going to be a different offensive line, a different way to attack them, different pass rush plan, and it's something that you have to keep on improving on and building off of each week.
What'd you make of Christian Pierce's first ever start on defense?
I was super impressed. He's a guy that, again, has improved a lot. He's always, as far as what he does on the field, he's always done since I've been here, but just mentally, he's grown a lot. He's one of the guys that we really trust out there on the field.
How did Desmond handle all the kind of communication stuff and responsibilities playing there in the middle?
He did good. He communicated great. We had no issues with him in the game, setting the front, talking to the DBs, inside backers. He's a mature kid, and, I was impressed by him.
Jakeem hasn't played a lot of football games over the last several years. Can you tell he's sort of eager to get out there?
He's very eager, and we can't wait for him to get out there.
Where is he maybe taking the biggest strides since he first came to you guys?
I mean, for him, everything was just brand new. So, he's kind of like Matai, where when he's out there, he'll mess up a lot of things, but he does it all full speed, which, as long as you're doing it like that, we can work with. And, all throughout camp and spring, he just got better and better and better, and he has a really high football IQ, and, for being a incoming freshman, he's one of our smartest guys up front.
I know you played him at both end and even the tackle at various times. Do you expect him to lean more one way or the other versus when he's playing now?
It'll probably depend on the week, and then kind of like depending on who's available around him, because he's kind of a guy that can fill different holes.
Were there any areas of the defense that you're specifically hoping to improve upon the first game?
Big plays and communication. I think communication's something that you could always find examples of that need to improve, and then we just put a big emphasis on make them earn everything down the field. We know offenses are going to make big plays, but make them earn it. Don't give them anything, which we did.
What was the teaching point after watching the film back on their touchdown?
Communication, just making sure we're on the same page. Even if we're wrong, if we're all wrong, we're right. But it's not about who's right, it's about all of us doing the exact same thing.
Why, in your opinion, is it important that young guys make mistakes at full speed? Not making mistakes, but at least in that speed.
Because you like to see guys just go out there and play fast. I think what the worst thing you can do is, you know, be unsure about what you're supposed to do and then playing slow on top of that, especially when everyone else around you is going full speed. So we just like guys that, you know, do everything full speed, do everything aggressive. We'll fix the mistakes.
How valuable is it for you to get this many snaps out of true freshmen this early?
I mean, it's awesome. Like, doing it in practice is completely different than a game. So the more reps we can get all those guys in games, the better.
What percentage of periods right now in practice are live? I'm assuming it's not a lot, and how does that affect how you evaluate players?
You know, we really don't go live once the season starts. We'll still thud, or we'll still do tackling drills, but as far as like 11 on 11, we don't do anything live in past camp.
You mentioned Anthony, Braylon, and Cam as guys you're confident in off the edge. Who are some other guys who you think can help there?
You know, Dev and Jakeem, they're guys that obviously they play inside, but they have the ability to play on the edge. And then a guy like EG. You know, EG obviously plays backer, but he's one of the best guys on the edge as well.
What stands out about Georgia Southern?
You know, they have a lot of formations. You know, communication with them is going to be huge, making sure we're on the same page. They do a great job spreading the ball around. Their skill position players are very, very good. And, you know, just the formations, the motions, the things they give you, they can generate a lot of explosive plays just by the defense not being on the same page. So communication is going to be huge.
Is it easier or harder to kind of evaluate their game because they went against a coach that you know in Micah?
No, you know, I think, you know, we obviously evaluate everything from this in past year, but knowing that this year is going to be a little bit different. But, you know, each team, there's always things that are similar to what we do, then there's some things that are a little bit different, and we have to try to pick and choose what we think we're going to get.
Let's do one more.
Who stood out to you in the second half on defense, guys who were maybe getting their first reps or were new?
I thought Kevin Longstreet did good in the slot. I thought Marquise made some plays, and, you know, there are a handful of other guys too.